Welcome back to Light Talk, where the paranormal and the supernatural is a part of our everyday lives. I'm so excited to have this guest back. I'm just so excited. We're just going to go ahead and get started. So go ahead and introduce yourself and welcome back. I'm so excited.
Thank you, Dana. I'm excited too. And thank you for having me back. My name is Laura Ferguson, author. That's my real name and my author name. And more recently, I have a book called The Entanglement, Planet X and Mars as an audiobook thus far and screenwritten and working on the ebook illustrations. I go by Starseed Lolo as my musician performer name. That's why you see the Starseed Lolo down there. And I also channel, and I love to channel, and I love to bounce it back off from another empath person because it's way more effective than me sitting there and questioning myself and then saying it out loud, which is kind of weird.
Hey, well, we can always do whatever comes through tonight. So we're going to go ahead. I mean, I'm so excited to have you back. I'm I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled to have you back. Um, last time we talked about all kinds of other things, but this time we're going to talk about tarot. We're going to start off with that. How's that?
Sounds good.
All right. What got you into tarot and what are your steps in getting through that into where you are now?
So in about 2021, early 2021, I realized I was having a spiritual awakening, and crows actually told me this because there were thousands and thousands of crows that kept following me for a few weeks when I lived in Northern California. They just flew in from the fields, and the crows were always there, but I guess I wasn't ready to notice them. And I think I was about 41 back then, and or 40, something like that. And anyways, and I'd just be walking by myself and go move my car because I worked in the city in Sacramento, in the capital. And then I'd go to lunch and there'd be two crows. And then I'd go here and there'd be five crows. And then I'm just like, oh my gosh, I'm seeing crows everywhere. Like, is this different? No, it's not. But why am I seeing them? And then one day I'm stuck in Highway 5 traffic, which, goes all the way from the Mexican border by San Diego all the way up to Portland, big highway. And anyway, I hear like screaming or like a loud noise like through my car windows. And I'm like, what the heck is that? And then I roll down my windows and I look over and see like trees and trees and trees of like 1,000 crows. And I'm like, oh, they're telling me I'm having a spiritual awakening. But I didn't even hear it clairaudiently. I felt it like sentiently and finally. And so they're my spirit animal. They're in my new AI music video that we're making called Dark Night of the Soul, based on the Dr. Carl Jung talking about it being the first stage of awakening and the negredo stage, which in Spanish or Latin, negredo, negro, black. And so it really is a purpose. It's not really a depression or a midlife crisis. There's a purpose to having that depression or whatever you want to call it, that feeling, which is only temporary. It's really for awakening, and it's really the first stage. And then I realized everyone is awakening. This is not just me. I'm not special or anything. Everyone is awakening, and we have the veil, as a human. We all choose the thinness of the veil, rather, how thin we want it to be in our experience. And it's based on moment to moment and our choices and our frequency. And so it's different for everyone, even identical twins. And so I realized that and I started talking to other people about it. Long story short, I went on Facebook and I'm like, let me join these tarot groups because I don't know how to do tarot. I don't really know about it. Yeah, I can watch YouTube videos, but you learn by doing, right? So I went to a bunch of tarot groups in Facebook where I joined like 25 of them or 30 of them. Like, it was just too many to even count. And so I would do like a 1-card poll. And I'm like, is there anything to this? Like, am I just making this up or what am I doing? And over 90% of the time I was accurate. And it wasn't anything like, oh, you're having a trouble in your life and this and that, like general. It was specific. Like, you're an artist and you should do more art. And then they're like, yeah, I am. Or something about a sister or a brother. And then like, oh yeah, you're right. And so I was like, maybe there's something to this. And so that's kind of how I started it. And I learned more about tarot on Gaia TV because there's a physicist, I forget her name, but she goes through the whole tarot archetype. And a lot of people don't know that the player's deck of regular player cards is based on the tarot deck. and that those, I believe it's 22 archetypes, and I don't remember how many of those are the major arcana, minor arcana, but it starts with the fool's journey on the hero's journey at 0. And a lot of people think that's a bad card because he's about to walk off a cliff. It's actually not. He's fresh, he's brand new, just like somebody who's in their first stage of awakening. And so it kind of just goes off on there and builds up, which is really interesting. But that's really my experience with tarot. How about you?
I am in the midst of learning tarot. I have a friend that does tarot, and she's trying to teach me a little bit about it. I dabble into it. I'm more oracle reader, but she's trying to talk me into and get me into doing more of the readings of that. So yeah, she's taught me of um, the basics, the orcanas and the majors and the minors and all that. But now she wants to go deeper and just kind of keep moving me into it a little more. She thinks that's going to help you out, Dana, she says. So yeah, so I'm getting there. I'm getting there. Yeah.
Yeah, and I really like the intuitive side of it too, because I would notice that would mess up my flow if I'm like 2 of cups. What does that mean? And I go run and get the guidebook. Well, then my connection broke for a few seconds. And so you can even do it intuitively, be like, oh, overflowing with love, or whatever comes out from that card. And then if you want to go see later afterwards, after you're reading whatever you're doing, and then go to the guidebook, and surprisingly you'll be pretty close or spot on sometimes, and other times it means something else because it's custom to the person or custom to yourself, whoever you're doing a reading for. And so I found that helped me too, just kind of intuiting and then checking after.
That's what I do actually. I write down everything I get off of each card, and then I go through and I write down what the book says so that I can kind of compare it and see how close I am. And yeah, and you're
That's
right.
great.
I am pretty close most of the time. Yeah. Yeah. It's pretty cool. Yeah, I love my cards. I love my oracle cards. I'm going through more practicing with it because I haven't done it for a little while. So I'm looking for people. So anybody else out there, I'm looking for sitters right now so that I can just get the practicing up more and getting more attuned with it, I should say. Or I say seasoned, more seasoned. I need some more salt and pepper on me, season myself up.
Do you have a favorite deck that you like? Because I think I have like 10 Oracle decks and like, 2 tarot ones.
I have one tarot and I have about 12 oracle decks now. Um, my favorite one that I really like to use is by Kim Nichols. She's actually my teacher for doing oracle cards. So she taught me all of that. So and she's got a deck out, and that has been actually my favorite deck. I don't know if it's because I that's the first one I worked with or something, but it's it's natural for me. It's kind of more natural. I see more, but yeah,
Yeah, it's almost like it's psychically enmeshed with you with the connection there. It seems to be a little bit deeper because of that, because it's like
yeah,
more of a personal deck that you not only are touching the cards and using all your senses, but on the metaphysical level, you also know the creator of them, which is pretty cool.
right, right. Yeah, that's pretty cool. She's a fabulous artist. Her artwork I've seen is just amazing.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool. Does she do book illustrations too?
No, she actually does. Let me see if I could get this right. She does your blueprint or yeah, your blueprint, and she'll draw out your blueprint. So
Mm,
it's really pretty cool. It's really cool. And the
that is
cards are
cool.
all her artist, her artwork too.
No, well, that's cool. I'm gonna have to follow her and check her links out later.
Yeah, yeah, Kim Nichols. Yeah, it's really cool decks. She does a lot of really great artwork and for people. So
I
yeah.
love that. I love a good artist because they are living in their highest passion in their highest moment when they're not just touching their tools and all that and knickknacks, but when they're in creation mode, you know? So
Mm-hmm.
I just love it. I love to see someone living in their highest passion, and you can tell that they love it, and you can tell that they pour their heart into it, and then their whole beautiful energy is literally connected to anything they create because they're in their highest passion at that time.
Right, right. And it shows. Yeah, she loves what she does, and um, she does really good with it. She's really good. Yeah,
Awesome.
yeah. And you have children's books that you're writing with the
Yes.
psychic side of things. So you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I have three children's books from the Conscious Kid Adventures with Zane series, which is based on my almost 8-year-old son. I published those, and then I helped other people publish, but I published those in 2023. I did one version on meditation called Imagine and Create. I did the second one was Imagine and Create, but in Spanish. And the third one was about sacred geometry, which I couldn't find a kid's book with sacred geometry. I literally couldn't, like, anywhere. So being a retired accountant, I love sacred geometry and shapes and all the nerdy stuff that goes with it and scientific stuff that goes with it. So um, I have been posting some animations. I'm probably going to have an animation page that's only for kid stuff. That's going to be Starseed the Conscious Fox. So if you see a
Oh,
little fox named Starseed the Conscious Fox, he's going to have his own page soon and probably his own YouTube channel. And he's going to go on conscious adventures in the ethereal forest and in the fourth dimension with the other ethereal beings and animals, and because they're all connected and they can all telepathically communicate just like we can with them if we really want to. And there's gonna be gnomes and fairies and all that kind of cute stuff. But yeah, and I'm spinning it off into this Starseed Fox Conscious Fox series now because AI has gotten so advanced that even I can figure it out using Canva Pro or Hedra AI or a couple different programs that I have. And so it really just depends on the prompts because I've started using it for my music too. I'm working on a song called Villainize about the witch trials, about being a witch. And
uh-huh.
the lyrics I wrote, not the AI this time. And, basically says, you're villainizing me. I'm at the stake and I'm not your concern. Uh, don't leave me to burn. Don't leave me to burn, that kind of thing. But it's almost like a parody because I did a post where I was making fun of myself and I had like sage. And since I was holding sage, somebody called me a witch. And I'm like, but I'm a good witch, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna make another funny video about that as well, about being a good witch, and like show myself running and burning sage and, oh, you're sick? Let me go around you in a circle with sage and hold this crystal. And like if we don't make fun of it, like, you know, how else can we deal with people like that who are like, you're a witch? And a lot of that energy which I channeled last week with on Michael Koff's show it is from those lives that we were, like the gypsies and the fortune tellers and the empaths working at the circus, and where we
Mm-hmm.
were not treated that nice, as being different, right? And
Mm-hmm.
in this reality, which it's all really parallel, but in this reality, this version of us, it's safe for us to be like that. And so I'm normalizing it and I'm saying, you're a witch, who cares? So, I'm going to make a funny video about that and have a song about that. And in the music video, I already picture myself with like a rope around my neck and tied to a tree. And, because in the Salem witch trials, most of them passed away from hanging. They didn't get burned. That was like medieval times in Europe. And so the rope and all that would just symbolize, I'm not a feminist by any means, but it'll symbolize um, the feminine energy getting demonized and villainized and thrown in mental asylums easily,
Mm-hmm.
like Nellie Blight. in the turn of the 19th century, the beginning, the late 1800s. She went undercover in an insane asylum for 10 days. And I love the rendition that Christina Ricci did. I think it's called 10 Days. No, it's called, is it the Nellie Bly story? Or, well, it comes from her book. I think it's 10 Days in an Asylum. And then it's a really cool movie. I think I saw it on Lifetime, of course, Lifetime. But I'll send you the link. And Christina Ricci just does excellent being Nellie Bly. And Nellie Bly was, an investigative journalist who's like, I need to expose these asylums that, husbands could just say their wife cheated, and then the wagon would come pick up the wife, and, whether they cheated or not, or, didn't even have proof, and they'd throw them in the mental asylum and say they have female hysteria and all this stuff. So Nellie was like, screw it, I'm going to roam the streets and, pretend like I'm out of it and go in the asylum myself undercover and see how bad it really is. And, the conditions were bad. And she was in there for 10 days. And because of her heroic actions, they did change some of the, they did change some of the conditions and stuff. But, a lot of that was still going on until like through even the 1950s or so, where women specifically could be targeted and, easily locked up in there, even if it wasn't valid or, and as you know, they didn't have a lot of good mental health, support systems back then. And even my great grandma, they said she was schizophrenic. She was up in the state of Washington, and they threw her in an asylum. And then my grandma was only 16, and she was at a nunnery scrubbing floors. And then she got married somehow shortly after that, met my great grandpa. But, I even wonder, I'm like, was that even valid? What diagnostic tools did they have? Like, what did she actually do to be called schizophrenic in the early 1900s, So, I mean, you wonder about things like that. And so, and I went off on a tangent, but to me, it's just interesting because, it's, if you've seen the movie Girl Interrupted, it's kind of like that. But, I think it's called Escaping the Madhouse, an Nellie Bly show that Christina Ricci did, a movie, not a series, Escaping the Madhouse. And the lady who's the bad lady who like abuses her in there is the lady from Who's the Boss? I forget her name as an actress, but she was really good. She was so good in that, and Escaping the Madhouse. And, that just came up for me recently. And I think making a funny video about it and making music about it helps to kind of lighten it, and like, just doing shadow work, but it's using the dark and turning it into light and by shining a light on it. You know what I mean?
Right. Right. Yeah, that's really interesting. From my understandings, I have a great aunt or some great aunt that was put into an asylum also for not sure reasons. Nobody really understood it at that time, like you were saying. They just didn't understand it. They just put her in, and yeah. Yeah, sad stuff. But we got it now. We got it all taken care of. We're spreading the word. We're spreading our energy. We're raising it. We're getting all strong. Yeah. And speaking of strong, you do sound healing. So that helps out with bringing up all this energy, bringing up all the positive, bringing up all this excellent stuff here.
Yeah. Like Tesla said something to the effect of, other than 3, 6, and 9s are in the universe, color, frequency, is basically the universe and energy. And that's true. Everything is frequencies, and colors are sound, and sounds are color, and the whole harmonic scale. And I believe even beyond that is our universe and is our reality. And music is healing. You can teach kids with music. You can teach people languages with music. It's, it's a part of us. Even if we're not a musician, we can still enjoy it. We can still feel it. We can, use it for healing. And because of that, I'm very aware of what I listen to myself. Like, I don't want to particularly hear an angry song right when I wake up in the morning, or hear a lot of song with a lot of cussing when I'm about to go to sleep, because, you're kind of waking up your from the astral realm where you're about to go to sleep and you're programming your whole light body right before you go to sleep. And you'll probably have a bad dream if you hear a hateful song and then you go to sleep, and that's why if you go see a movie with 10 people getting killed and then you hear a song about it, like, good luck that night because you're probably going to have a bad dream because of that. And, it's like garbage in, garbage out. And so I'm just a little bit aware of that. And none of my 20 songs or whatever I have are explicit. And one of them I called F My Life. But we say it F My Life. We don't say the actual word because it's pretty much like a tragedy and a comedy rolled all in one, and a parody, like basically saying that F My Life is a farce. That's not for me, it might be for you, but it's not for me, it's kind of like turning lemons into lemonade type of thing. But it's just awesome. Music is beautiful. Anyone can do it. Even a baby can do it, an elderly person, even animals love it. And I just love it as an expression. It's a form of expression,
Yeah, that it is. I can't listen to anything like that with all the cussing and everything in it anymore. I just can't. I listen to like Christian music now. I just have a hard time listening to pretty much anything else except for, meditation music or, the
mm-hmm.
beats and whatnot. So I have a hard time listening to that kind of stuff too. But yeah.
It's just and it's fun too. It really is fun because I'm meeting a lot of people to collaborate with on the internet. I'm on a app called Band Lab, and it's like social media for people who like music or make music. And I'm getting some more inboxes here and there. There's more seeping. And do you want to collab? Do you want to collab? And most of the time I have 5 to 10 songs going on at one time because I'll re-record for weeks on end until I'm, finally ready and it has a quality that I'm ready to release it at. And so, but yeah, it's just really fun, especially if you've never done it before. And it's almost like a thrill. And then you have a timestamp of your song in time, basically in perpetuity. And so you can go back and listen to it any way you want. And if you want to edit it, and you can just replace it and put a new one in there, and you're like, if you want to tweak it, want to do a remix, like there's so many things you can do. And, a lot of people will listen to music, but they won't sit here and listen to a podcast, or they might not listen to the ASMR sound healing I'm doing, or me using the tuning forks, or unless they're trying to go to sleep, which I want to be able to help people relax. So if they can go to sleep because they hear my ASMR podcast for an hour, fine. If they can go to sleep because they hear me channeling and it sounds boring, fine. That's helping them also, even if they're just listening for 2 minutes. But you get what I'm saying? Like, because there are a faction of people who they don't really care about the metaphysical side, but they like the music side. And I've noticed that a lot too when I'm in neutral groups that aren't like metaphysical group or a spiritual page or whatever you want to call it. Because I'm on Snapchat and Twitch, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. I'm on a bunch of them. Pretty much any social media other than X, formerly known as Twitter, I'm on. And, I just noticed, I'm like, most of the people here, they all say they like music, but of course they're not interested in like the eccentric stuff, like especially the younger people under 35, like the channeling or the ASM. Some of them like ASMR, but I think that's really specific, where you're doing like the sounds and stuff like that. With meditation music sometimes. So, and I had someone ask me recently at Snapchat, what's good for recovery? I don't know what kind of recovery he meant, but I said, sound healing can be good for that. But you have to be in a quiet place, like, on your bed, ready to go to sleep with earphones on. Like you can't be like up cooking dinner and, like running around or like doing laundry. Like you have to be relaxed, about to go to sleep. And I'm like, I even listened to my own ASMR one night to go to sleep. And I'm like, but you have to be ready to go to sleep, like you can't just be running around the house and expect it to work and calm you down, while your mind is too active.
Right. Yeah. And that's makes it hard for me to meditate and stuff because my mind, especially lately, is just going like crazy. So
I get
yeah,
that. Sometimes it's hard to sit still. And even when you sit in stillness, It doesn't mean that your mind is sitting in stillness. And so when people ask me how to meditate, I'm like, number one, just think of nothing. And then they stay quiet. They're like, what do you mean think of nothing? I'm like, yeah, think of nothing. Just a blank slate. Yeah. Don't think about bills. Don't think about your cat. Don't think about kids. Don't think about you. If you have those 30 minutes or 20 minutes, you cannot think about anything. You have to, if you're listening to a meditation that has words, focus only on those words, because you're self-hypnotizing, so you can be in a higher frequency and zone, and you will be
Mhm.
in a higher frequency or zone if you make the effort to be. But if you're just sitting, and for me, lying on the bed or laying on the couch, I get more in a deeper state. And it's okay if you fall asleep. There's nothing wrong with that. That just means that it worked and you probably gave yourself a healing while you were sleeping. You know what I mean? And you were
Yeah.
having more of a psychedelic experience because you were directly in the astral realm. And so actually falling asleep is probably a good thing when you're meditating. So tell people, don't worry if you fall asleep just because you're, not sitting up. But for me, initially, and still, it's still better if I'm not sitting up. Just on the channeling side, I sit up and I'm alert because I'm on a show. But it's in regular just meditation. I just love to lie down, and you have that time. It can be even be 5 minutes, and you sometimes got to build your way up, because I had that challenge too, where I couldn't sit still, and then I'm like fidgeting, and I'm like, oh, this is itching. Oh, oh, my hair is bothering me, and then I just, I would find an excuse to move, and it would break my,
Hmm.
uh,
Right.
you know what I mean, the connection. It would break the connection, and it was like I move and then go back. I move and then I go back, and then it just keeps interrupting it, and then it actually makes it 2 times, 3 times longer because you're kind of procrastinating. You're like, oh, I got to go to the bathroom. Like, no, make sure everything is, your phone
Done.
is turned on vibrate. Yeah, you went to the restroom. All that stuff is silenced or whatever, and you are truly, the TV is off, whatever, and you are truly ready to be quiet and be in stillness. And your bills will be there, and your car will be there, or whatever else will be there. Your work will be there after your 20 minutes or 5 minutes, and it's really hard to think of nothing, as I say. And,
Yeah.
and I need to continue taking that advice myself, because, it's easy for our human minds to wander, rather than to have that connection, with a higher self or whatever we want.
Right. And it does feel good when you hit that spot where you're thinking of nothing and you're just there in silence. It's like so nice
Mm-hmm.
to have that silence sometimes. And but then your monkey mind comes back and you're off going somewhere else. It's like, wait,
Mm-hmm.
stop.
And you're like, dang it, I forgot to put that thing in the dryer. Like, okay.
No, back,
Let me go
come
do it,
back.
or I'll keep thinking about it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. Um, you've had some experiences with connecting with the extraterrestrials or other beings. Um, so you want to start with the Pleiadians?
Yeah, the Pleiadians are basically like fifth dimensional human beings. And like they are so close to us. If you see one in the physical, I don't think you would know it's a Pleiadian. They're basically humans that are fifth degree consciousness, and they have high technology. So they can see what we call the future or the past. And the Pleiades constellation is where they're known to be. However, that's not the only place they exist, because there's an infinite amount of realities, just like humans. This version of human being an infinite number of realities, so are the Pleiadians, and they're almost like a human 2.0. They're not hybrids, but they're tweaked a little bit. They're said to have night vision like a cat, and to overall be stronger and a little taller than us. But they're basically humans. They're just a different version of humans, from a different area of the universe. That's all. Basically, what I've gotten from them. Have you gotten anything else from them yourself?
Not from them, just from hearing other people talking and everything. So what I gather, they have like a blue tint. Would they have the blue tint here on Earth to
I
their
haven't heard
skin?
of that one, and I haven't experienced them that way. When I did experience them, it was a collective, and I didn't see just one. it was more of like a human energy, but a little bit higher frequency and
Okay.
as a collective energy. So rarely do I see just one. If like I'm more of a feeler and a hearer or clairaudient. But if I ask them to describe how they look, then they'll probably show themselves, or describe it to me. But based on how I felt them, and everybody can feel them or see them or experience them different, because someone probably did see them with a blue tinge, to their skin, depending on what kind of star they're near, because uh, the stars and the oxygen levels, and whether it's a small dwarf. I think we have a red dwarf star like ours. Uh, your skin will probably look different, and then if you have a blue star, and so I know it also depends on the kind of suns that you have next to your planet. So that might be the case, and the person who experienced them with the blue, maybe they had a blue star in that version of them. And all perspectives are valid, really, because it's relative to the person and relative to you creating your version of the universe, and I have my version of the universe. And it's also collective, but individual perspective, we each have our own version of the universe. So I might experience the Pleiadians and not see anything, and the other person has them with blue skin in their version, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, that does. That does. So do you think with them having the five-dimensional um energy to them, if they're doing like a reading or doing a past life or something like that with another human, is is that where we are finding people with a really good um skill level that they are? Is that like where that comes from, or is this something that um a human can also get to that level as the Pleiadians? Does that make sense?
Do the fifth dimensional experience, you mean, can a human do like a Pleiadian?
Yeah, so like if the Pleiadians are able to do, let's say, past life regression, or just go up to somebody and see their past life, is that like the same experience that a three-dimensional human would be able to do if they're practicing all of this? Or would they have like some special type of um, quicker skill set? I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, our frequencies are different, and even our DNA and the chromosomes are said to be a little slightly different. Like they have the night vision and we don't, like a cat and some other oddities that they have. Like it's said that the women can get themselves pregnant without a man, and so they're pretty advanced, with reproductive and all kind of stuff like that, and the vision thing, the night vision. But to answer your question, anybody can tap into what's called the Akashic records, because we're all one, really, and we just have different perspectives and fractals of that one. It's like a million snowflakes, and each little crystal is you or myself, and we all make up a big giant, blizzard or whatever you want to say. And so anyone could tap into that, because we're all connected to it, and it's called being psychic, but we're actually just connecting into the ether of creation. And you don't have to be fifth dimension. However, if you connect with a higher dimensional being such as a Pleiadian, that's because that's another perspective of yourself that you're connecting with. So that's a parallel version of yourself where you wouldn't be connecting with them. And so can you strengthen your gifts because you do have a connection with your Pleiadian self? I think you can, if you're able to tap into it. But I'm also saying you can tap into doing those, parallel life readings and stuff like that, because you're part of creation and you create your own universe and your own experience. Therefore, you're able to tap into it because you are a creator of it as well. And we're co creating, and we have soul agreements. And so, everyone you meet, and if you participate in that kind of thing, it's for a reason. It's not an accident, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, that sure does. That sure does. Um, you've also have been in touch with the art. This is a tough one for me. Arcturians.
Yeah, the Arcturians. I think they're like 12th dimension. They do have blue skin for sure, and they're portrayed like that in many pictures. They're from the Arcturus constellation, and they are very heavy into like technology. They almost look like tall grays, but with bluish skin. They have big eyes. Love technology. They don't do war. They're not a warring race, at least not anymore. And uh, I only got them one time. I've gotten the Palladians like the 4 or 5 times. The Arcturians only came through as a collective one time, and they had a very like a strong energy that was like solemn almost, and like we don't really mess around. Like they were kind of serious, and they weren't like emotionless like the Greys. Don't have the ability to feel emotions, but they were pretty close to that. They felt like a stronger version of the Greys that had a slight amount of inflection of emotion, and they're just highly intelligent and highly connected. And when they're like 12th dimension like that, they don't have to have a body. They only choose to when they want to. It's a biosuit, which is what we have as well. Just a lot of us don't realize it, but just like the movie Avatar, it's a biosuit. If they want to come to Earth and experience it as a physical being, they have technology to do that, even if they don't have a real body. They have drones, they have DNA clones, they have, that they just put on, and they can literally transfer their consciousness in any of these apparatuses, and they can experience a physical body also, almost like a soul walk-in, like when they say someone passes away as a near-death experience, they come back, they're totally different. Sometimes that's a soul walk-in. It's almost like that. um, they have consciousness driven ships, and so their spaceships are controlled by their consciousness, which the Palladians do too, really fifth dimensional and up, or consciousness ships that are an extreme version of AI that wouldn't call themselves AI because they're sentient AI and they're on the positive spectrum, but they are consciousness controlled. There's a lot of consciousness controlled technology, that they use basically, which I find interesting.
Yeah, that is very interesting. Um, like people, I get some people asking, how do they get from here to here and so quickly? And it's because of that, because it's just a conscious thing. We're just a snap and you're here or you're there. Yeah, I
That's
think it's
right.
really
There
cool.
is, yeah, there is no space and time. Therefore, they figured out, just like we put coordinates on a map in Google Maps, they do the same thing with frequency. They know that this version of Earth is 1.329768 or whatever it is, but the other version of Earth 50 years from now is 1.6729 or whatever, and the only place is here and now. There is physicality is not real, therefore there's nowhere to go. It's just a matter of programming, you know, like a high tech teleportation system, but you're really not going anywhere. It's just you're just changing your reality, just like you transform when you cross over to the other side or die. It's the same thing. They just know how to do it, willfully. It's like me walking over in this other room. Well, that's because I wanted to go to the other room. I changed my reality, right? I didn't so much
Yeah,
change my body and all that, but you get it. They're to an extreme. We're shapeshifters just like them. They can just do it. It's the speed of thought, I call it. And I've heard that somewhere. But the speed of thought, literally the speed of your thought. I want to be on Mars right now. I'm an Arcturian. Well, then you're going to be in Mars. And same thing when we cross over to the other side, because we don't have a body, and we can manifest anything we want instantly. They're pretty much to that level, as if one of us has passed away. And if you've been in contact with them, or they've been in contact with you, again, that's because you have a soul connection to them, and you have a version of you that is them too, or you wouldn't be aware of them in the first place, and you wouldn't be able to have them as a guide, or however they are in your life.
wow, that's very interesting. Yeah. That's a different way of putting it. That's that Yeah, the connection. I always say that we're all connected. The way I say that is we're all connected to source or God or what I go with God. But I take it as if, okay, here's God. God sneezes. All those little particles that come out with a sneeze is us and everything. So we're all as one, it was part of him that he sneezed. So we're all part of him. So we're all as one and we're all connected in some way or another.
Mm-hmm. That's it.
Yeah.
And then it gets a little more complicated when you talk about oversouls. But basically, when you feel a very strong attraction or a very strong click with someone, even just as a friend or whoever, uh, generally you're under the same oversoul. It's said that there's like 144,000 for 7 billion people oversouls. So there's only 144,000, and that means there's millions of people that are under the same oversoul, that are fractals of the same oversoul. And that really explains why you can meet a random person, which they aren't random because everyone you're supposed to meet for your experience, which on a high soul level, at the oversoul level, you agree. Then here's all the little ones, which is our fractals, just different perspectives. And it's really cool because for the longest time, I'm like, what is an oversoul? I don't get it. And, I listened to Daryl Anka talk about it, channel it about 20 times. And then it finally clicked. I'm like, oh, it's just a bigger version of me, but at the next level, right? So instead of the 5 million little me's down here, then it's part of the 144,000 bigger ones, and then it kind of just goes in infinite realities and, different
Like a
layers and all
family.
kinds of.
So it's like a family tree, but for yourself.
Yes. So it's like a
Okay.
soul family, but another version of you. And so if you're
Hmm.
communicating, whether it's an Arcturian or that's another human, you could be under the same oversoul, the umbrella. There's a big oversoul. There's a Palladian version of you, or there's a human version of you that you're aware of, anyways. Here's Arcturian version of you, or here's your best friend that you just clicked with for 30 years. And you know what I'm saying? So generally, it's a soul family or a soul group that you have soul agreements with, and you just flip flop roles because you're like, I think my daughter was my mother in a life, or like you feel something weird. Like my son, I felt was my husband in another life. He was very possessive over me as a toddler, and I telepathically kept telling him, "You're not my husband in this life. You're my son in this life. Stop." And he stopped eventually, but so and just like sending an animal telepathic images, because animals go more off images, not the words. They go off emotions and images. That'll help too, if you're trying to train your dog or your cat or whatever. But so yeah, so the oversoul, you're generally the same soul family, and you just can't explain why you have this attraction or this connection with someone. And that's the way I feel it is, anyways. I could be right or wrong, but for me, I'm like, we have to be the same oversoul. There's no question about it. Like I have a friend who's 20 years older than me. She's more like a mother figure. She's like 63 and I'm 43, but she's more of my mother, who I don't speak to, my biological mother. She's more my mother than my mother. And I'm like, and she knows that. I told her that, and we speak like every other day or something. She lives in Reno, and now I'm way over in Florida. But, I don't really let it more than a few days go by with speaking to her. And I'm like, I have no explanation other than I read her book, and then I drove to Reno and met her in real life. And I live in
Mhm.
Sacramento, not too far away. But we've still been friends now, like 6 or 7 years later. And I told her we have to be the same oversoul. Why would we, be like best friends? Like we just, and it's not that we're too odd, but we're 20 years apart. And, it's kind of a little out of place, not too much, but, enough to make you wonder, like, why doesn't
Yeah.
Laura have a friend her own age? And I do have a friend my own age, a friend or two, but I don't, really care. I'm like, I click with her and she's my friend and she loves all this psychic stuff. And, we can talk for hours about it. And I just told her the other day, I'm like, we're from the same oversoul. I just know we are. She's like, yeah. She's like, yeah, I agree. But, and it's cool that to have a friend that you can actually talk to about this stuff with.
Yeah. Yeah. It is really cool. That must be what I have. I know this one lady. She's one of my good friends. I've known her since eighth grade. and we're still talking. And
Whoa.
I have another friend that I met in 10th grade, first day of school, and we're still friends, you know. And it's really cool. And to even go with that, my second grade teacher, I'm still in touch with.
Wow.
So yeah, I mean, I haven't talked to her for a while. I need to get her called, but yeah. So they must be part of my um what did you call it?
Oversoul. Yeah. Or
Oversoul. Yeah.
you can say soul family too. I mean, soul family is kind of just the ones that are around you in this life that you pretty much know. When you go above and beyond, like ETs and all that, that might be more of like an oversoul. But you know, it's really all the oversoul. But a lot of people are more comfortable saying soul family. So whatever one.
All the same. Oh, cool. Very awesome. Very awesome. Whew. A lot of stuff going on here with us.
Yeah,
No, that's a
yeah.
lot of good information. It's really good. I love how the music goes in with the connection with the oversouls and the tarot kind of brings everything in together too. Your channeling is amazing. It's great. You've did that on our last show. So yeah, you have all of this. It just kind of brings it all together in one nice little package. You know, it's beautiful. It's
I
beautiful.
appreciate it. I really do. I really do. Because I was like, what's going to happen with this channeling stuff? I just started doing it on bigger, like YouTube forum rather than, in a little small group. And I'm like, well, I'm being told by my higher self to do it. So I'm going to do it. And I'm being told by my higher self to keep on doing it because your human mind doesn't drive the bus and doesn't have an original thought. It's your higher self, and everything filters down from your higher self. And so that's why we have passions and we have things that we love, and we should follow our passion because our higher self is giving us a big clue, pointing us in the right direction of what to do. And if you listen to that, inner version of you, then beautiful things will happen and unfold. And, whenever you decide to do it and act on your highest passion moment to moment, that's when those manifesting and beautiful things that you want actually come true that didn't seem even within reach before that. And so it's really just a matter of listening to your inner voice and doing what you love. And I'm still going to channel, and I'm prepared to post and to have, comments saying I'm crazy or I'm lying or something. I'm fine with that. I'm 100% ready to deal with that. And surprisingly, I haven't gotten too many comments, if any. And it's only been a few months of the open channeling, but I'm out and I'm proud as a channeler.
Good for you. Good for you. Yes. We may have to chat together and give me some pointers on getting my mediumship and channeling up higher. So,
Well,
yeah.
I created a guidebook. It's a short one. I'll bet a little guidebook. So I could send you a copy of that if you'd like. And of course, if you have questions, just let me know.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'll may have to take you up on that. So, because, yeah, I can use a little more pointers from everybody to get myself going on it. So, excited for it. Excited to get there.
And they just told me that you're a Pleiadian. So whatever that means.
Okay. Okay. Is that why I'm wearing purple? Actually, they're
I
blue.
don't know.
So,
Yeah.
yeah,
I don't
I
know.
don't know.
I don't know. Half the time, I don't know what they're talking about until I tell the person, and the person reflects back to me what it means. But they, Pleiadians wanted to tell me to tell you you're a Pleiadian, so maybe that's why you
Okay.
asked about them a lot. Yeah, and that Pleiadians
Possibly.
love to do healings of others, and they like to keep a good high frequency, like being happy. They like to be a healer. They love technology, but they also love nature, things like that. And they said that you're one of them. But they're also saying that you already knew that too. So
Okay. Yep. Okay, I've got a lot of different things I'm being told I am. So, well, thank you. Thank you everyone for bringing that through. Thank you. Yeah.
Mhm.
Um yeah, Pleiadian, Lemurian, I'm told I am. Uh, oh, I can't even think of it right now, but yeah, I've got a few of them.
Yeah.
Great, I am.
Yeah, you can be more than one. I remember one like a few readers told me, "Oh, I'm getting like 10 races." I'm like, "10?" They're like, "Yeah, anything from reptilian to gray to Pleiadian." I'm like, "All right, stop." It's like so basically I'm all the ones that we know of in the New Age community. Okay, I'm like that makes sense. I can
I'm just
shapeshift
a
to be a
mix of
reptilian, then I'll
everything.
shapeshift to be a yeah, and then I
Huh.
just concluded any of the vibrations I'm channeling are just it's just a collective I'm connected to, and so it's okay. I've accepted that, and even the reptilian ones, and because not all reptilians are bad, they have different frequencies just like we do. I posted about that and channeled about that recently because in the community it's reptilians are bad and blah 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 blah, and I'm like not all of them, like that was a faction of them and very specific formats, and our reality was the lower dimension. We're actually, you said third dimension, we're actually more like a lower fourth dimension now. And since we've actually in our lifetime progressed into the lower fourth dimension from the third dimension, that's why a lot of people now are catching fairies, like they'll see a fairy light or more UFO activity or paranormal, which is actually normal, but you know what I mean, paranormal events. And it's not just because they have cell phones, because they see them, on their cameras, but they also see them in real life. And so, because we are in the lower fourth dimension, and the fourth dimension is closer to the astral plane, where you do get those mythical creatures and you get the people that have crossed over the other side, it's easier to connect with them. And, just any dimension you could think of, it doesn't even have to be alien. It could really be inner earth beings, anything. And so,
Yeah.
being that we are in this lower fourth dimension, it's just easier for us to connect at a little bit higher frequency with, all these beautiful beings that, um, like the dragons and the unicorns and stuff like that. And oddly enough, I hadn't really gotten one of those, animalistic type ones other than the ant being ETs or mantis beings. Those are more like humanoids, though, blue Lyrian cat beings. But it's just interesting because now in the fourth dimension, we've opened up, we turned up the dial on our frequency on the radio, and it's almost like going from that old black and white TV with 3 channels to color TV with like 200 channels. And so, it's not really so much that the paranormal experiences are happening more. They were already always there, just like the
Yeah.
crows were always there around me. We just turned up the frequency dial and have more access, and our bandwidth has gone from like that to like that. And so it's easier for us to get in with first contact of physical contact, which I've been channeling is coming at no later than the 2030s. That the races that are the most like us, like the hybrid beings that are half Pleiadian or half gray and half human, they're the closest to us because they're half human. And so generally it would be that first contact of physical contact, that doesn't go for people like us that are part of the hybrid program and give our DNA and have agreed on a soul level to do that. But physical contact where they're just walking around during the day like one of us is probably going to be a hybrid or a Pleiadian hybrid, because they're very close in DNA to us, and they're even half of us. So that's to come if you choose that dimension and that reality that you would like, because it's up to every individual soul fractal. If somebody does not want to experience that, they're not going to experience that. But as someone like us who wants to see all these hybrids and weird stuff, we're going to experience it. So
Yeah. Yeah, I'm excited to go with that, but I know I'm pretty much a hybrid. I've got multiple things within me, not things, multiple beings in me. And so yeah, it's really interesting because you think you have different a feel with you, but how do we know what the feel is? I feel human, but how do I know what another being feels or what a real human feels? I don't know. That's just kind
Well,
of
there's no physicality. So really none of us are human. There's no physical reality. It's just an experience. We have a
yeah.
biosuit, but it's like a holographic biosuit. There's not like there's not even physical matter. It said there is no physical matter and solid matter really. And so
Hmm.
and like all the particles of all the people in the US can fit in like a 2-inch box or something. Like there is really no, it's mostly space. It's like 99.99999 20,099s in space. And so what are we? Well, we're just having an experience from your perspective or from my perspective. We're also having a collective experience, but really the focus right now while you're in this biosuit body, which is like a video game or a matrix, it is a matrix or a video game, is your perspective as Dana, my perspective as Laura. And at the same time, we're having infinite perspectives of all the other bodies you see. And it's not, there is no physicality. The experience is real, not the physicality. And so I just find it interesting because then I tell myself these weird things throughout the day. I'm like, ow, I hurt my thumb. I'm like, wait, I don't have a thumb. Like, where does pain come from? I'm creating pain in my higher mind just to have an experience. This is stupid. And I'm like, oh, I guess so, like, oh, I stubbed my toe, like, something that. And so that's normally like the weird things that go wheels turn in my mind. I'm like, but I'm not real. So how can I feel pain? I'm like, that's pretty cool. This is like a quantum computer, like it is. It's like, it's pretty high tech. If it's not real, then what is it? Like, it's just a really cool ride at Disneyland for 90 years or, whatever. And there is no time and space. So it's pretty much like a frame by frame by frame, running like a film strip from something that already happened. And your perspective as your soul fractal of source or God, whatever you want to call it, is going through you, through your light body, and you're basically just light particles. When you don't have a body and you see yourself, I've been told by people who went over fully to the other side, they said, I want to see my real self. And it's just a bunch of particles floating around looking like gold sparkles or something, So because it's just a perspective, It's like in quantum physics, it's your perspective. And so and it's all relative to your perspective. It really is, which means it's different for every single person, which is unique and really cool. And I'm like, how many versions of Laura is there? And in every infinite version, am I different? Like, am I the president in this version? Am I homeless in that one? And like, like it's almost like the movie Back to the Future, but in infinite amounts. And so it's just, that's normally what the wheels turn in my head. And then I'm like, wait a second, if I'm not real, can I have more control of this non-real, seemingly real reality? And so then I'll ask for synchronicities, and then my higher self will send it to me. Like I'll be writing down, texting a word, and it's not a common word like if, and, or the. Like the other day, I was calling the insurance people, just benign, boring thing, and I was literally writing like my year of birth, 1982, and he read back the number to me, a very long number, and had the number 82 within 1 second of me writing it. I'm like, what are the chances of that?
Oh, wow.
And it's two numbers, 80 and 2. Okay, it's 1 out of 100 chance if and I did
Right.
stats for a living as an accountant, and it's like 1 out of 100 chance if you only have one digit, but you have two digits, so 1 out of 200 chance within that split second or so. And it would had to be the number combination of 82, which is probably 1 out of thousands. And so I'm like, this is crazy. And so what those synchronicities generally mean is that you're on the right path to what you're doing, you're supposed to do, following your highest passion in every moment. It can be anything from small to big to benign. And B, it's telling you everything is connected. This is all, we're like fish in a fish bowl, but it's an unlimited one. So it's really not a bowl. And there's no glass ceiling, you know what I mean? And so we're all connected. And so just like threads in a blanket. And it's reminding you the universe is in your face. Well, you keep on asking, are you doing the right thing? Well, we're going to freaking keep on telling you. And so if you need a synchronicity, and today you need to talk to 2 Toms, and tomorrow you need to talk to 2 Karens, and on Friday you need to talk to 2 Michelles, and you got to get the number 99 at the second you're writing it over there. and you got to see 11, 5 times in a row, guess what? We're going to send it to you because the universe gives you what you want. Whether it's positive or negative, it's your choice, depending on your frequency, right? So, and I noticed that when my frequency is higher and I'm having a better mood that day, I see more synchronicities and it just opens up a lot more for me. And so I try to stay that way. I don't always stay that way. I'm not perfect. I'm still having the human experience. Like you're saying, what is human? None of us are human because humans don't exist, people don't exist, and physicality doesn't exist. So you're right about that. But the experience is real, the feelings of the experience, staying in our soul fractal in perpetuity in all infinite realities. You're always going to have this experience as Dana in all of your realities. And you're going to carry that and you're going to use that. And that's probably why you're drawn to things like tarot and, certain things that you're an expert at. Sometimes it feels like you're a natural at something and you can't explain why. That's why. Because you have other fractals or other realities where you are an expert at that or a professional at that. And so, that's why you have a knack. And again, it's your higher self telling you what to do. Your higher self is a really good compass through your emotions. If it doesn't feel good, don't do it. If it feels good, do it because that's what you're good at. Why are you good at it? Because that's what you're supposed to be doing. And really, your purpose is to be yourself in the highest passion that you can, however that looks. You know what feels good. That's really all emotions is for. It's just a compass and just pointing you in the right direction. Go that way, Dana. Go that way. Oh, that doesn't feel good. Don't do that one. No. Don't do that one again. Go that way. Go that way. Oh, that one feels better. Oh, you got a dream about an idea to do something for this podcast? Oh, yeah. Well, guess what? It came from your higher self. And it might have come from your Arcturian self. It might have come from just the oversoul. I have no idea. It doesn't matter. But it's something you're supposed to be doing because it feels good. And it gave you that idea. And, if it works, it works. It doesn't, you're going to get a new idea from your higher self, especially if you're very open and sane in that, high frequency, then you might, I don't know. Do you ever feel like you have too many ideas because you're such like high up in the clouds and you don't know what to do? I mean, I feel that way sometimes. And I'm like, my frequency is too high. Now I have like 20 ideas. I don't like that. Then I got to write them all down, text them down. And then I got to organize them from, number 1 to number 20. Like, do you ever have that challenge too?
Yeah, it's just like I get so much coming at me sometimes. It's like, oh, I got to look into this, and it's like, oh, from now, where am I supposed to go now? So it's like,
Yeah.
okay. So then I'm trying to narrow it in again. So I mean, yes, I do. Yeah,
Yeah, you
I
get that.
gotcha.
Yeah. And I think when you have a higher, strong connection with your higher self, which is yourself, but it's said that like 2% of us are in our body experience and the 98% of us is still in the spirit world. We never leave the spirit world.
Mhm.
We don't ever die because we're infinite beings. And like I said, this physicality is not real. So we don't ever leave it. It's just like a dream that we're having in a biosuit, in a fake biosuit at that. And so, it's just, if you are very close to that and the veil is very thin for you, I think that when we get 20 ideas coming through, like Daryl Anka said when he channels Bashar, you flip a coin. And if you can't literally pick between your top 2 decisions, even in that day, what you're going to do, or that moment, or those 2 hours you got before bed, am I going to read a book? Am I going to do this? Whatever. He said, flip a coin. And if it lands on the opposite side and you're like, darn it, I wish it was heads, but it was tails, then that's your answer. You go with the one that you wished it was. That's what he said to do.
Yeah. So just do what you want to do.
Yeah, or just do what you want to do because you really don't need any tools, and that includes tarot cards because I started using channeling. I use myself as a tarot card, even though cards are still fun and I have them and all that. But I mean, you are the tool ultimately. You're the ultimate tool. And actually, even by looking at a card, it's coming from you and your higher self, and you're the one speaking, and the energy is from you. And my card might be the same as your card, but we're going to have 2 different readings because we have different energies and different intuitions, and which is okay. And it's pretty cool when you get more than one perspective, kind of like a second opinion of a doctor, right? But
Right.
anyways, I find it all fascinating. And sometimes I do get like the squirrel, like, oh, there's a nut over there, or there's a nut over there, or there's one over there. And I'm like, All right, calm down. I got to decide what to do because now I'm just spending time ruminating for 2 hours, and I'm like, I got to pick one of them. Okay.
Yeah.
I got to pick one. And then I'm doing like like almost like a coin flip in my mind. Oh, which one do I really want to do? And I can't wait. I only have this much time in a day. Okay, I have to do that one. So
Right.
yeah, it's time management, but I think because we're so open, we get like a floodgate of, like energy sometimes. And it's a good thing, but it's just something that you
It
have
is
to
a
learn
good
to work
thing.
with. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we've been on for now over an hour now, but it's great.
Yeah.
I don't mind, but I would love to have you back again if you would ever want to come back again. I mean, this is so much information, so much. Maybe we can go into more in depth with each of these beings that you've connected to and everything. So I would love to have you back if you wouldn't mind.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll reschedule for February and I can do channeling on the front end on that one. So we can get in there because indirectly the Pleiadians were speaking to you. So they
Oh,
were
okay.
indirectly speaking to you here, by saying you're a Pleiadian and they wanted me to tell you that. But if we want to get into it and see who comes out, because it's always a surprise with me. I let whoever wants to come out, come out. I got Ashtar Command. I didn't even know what that was. I had to go look it up on Google. One time I got Ashtar Command. One time I got Actarians, but a lot of the times the Greys like to pop up. The hybrids like to pop up, Essassani hybrid. The Pleiadians like to pop up, and the Raw Collective from the Law of One. They've been coming in strong the last few times, but we'll see in February what we get.
All right. Sounds perfect. Sounds perfect. So thank you so much for being on the show again. I really enjoy having your company.
Same, Dana. Thank you, and thank you to anyone watching.
Yeah. All right. If anyone else out there has any stories you would like to share, email me at lighttalk423@gmail.com and we will get it. All right, everyone. We'll see you next time. Thank you and bye.
Bye.